Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Reporter's Notebook. For those of you who have not gotten a chance to watch Reporter's Notebook before, it's where we get an opportunity sort of towards the end of our days to sit down with some of our reporters and some of the other people that work behind the scenes here in the newsroom and kind of just dive a little deeper about what it's like to work in a newsroom, what it's like to be a reporter, and get a little deeper into those stories that we get to cover for you guys each and every day. So we are joined in the studio by Miss Victoria Holmes.
Hello.
Woo-hoo. Hey.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I know.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I am too.
I get to go home and see my family a little bit this weekend. I'm so excited.
That is exciting. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be great. So, talk to us about the story you covered today, because it's not your typical everyday story. It was kind of a little funny in a way. We had a little joke about it this morning.
Yeah.
So talk to us about what your story was today.
So my story for the day are the counties in the east that are offering bounties for beavers. And this was something that caught my attention because it was kind of thrown in. I believe I was listening in on the Martin County Board of Commissioners meeting, and they have like an agenda and they go through all the items, and I saw this bounty. And I'm not from the east, and I was like, is this a thing? Do people have beaver issues? And
I didn't know.
I didn't know either. And so I kind of was like, I that kind of piqued my curiosity. And then I found the same kind of like similar announcement saying like a beaver bounty in Beaufort County. And I was like, okay, this must be an issue. And then the more I started digging into it, the more I started learning how big of an issue it was. And then it kind of like culminated with the flooding from last week. Because the flooding from the rainstorms. Because apparently when beavers built dams and then we have rain like we did over the weekend or whenever the rains came and the river started overflowing, beavers building dams just built on top of that. And so the issue and the damages from the flooding is magnified by the beavers. And so it was just kind of timely in the sense that we had these major floods, and then those floods were exacerbated. The issues and the damages by the floods were magnified by the beavers. And so I that was my story for the day. Yeah. So I learned all about beavers in the east.
That's so interesting, because that's not something that you would typically, think of when there's, huge flooding or major. You think of the damage that's going to happen. You don't necessarily think of the impact that wildlife is going to have on that. So that's crazy. And so the bounty aspect, what is that? Are people literally going out and killing beavers for sport and compensation for it, or how does it work?
So it is a bit controversial. So for my story for the day, I talked to a trapper, and this is a man who is 73 years old, and he's been trapping beavers since he was 12. And he was very, very, he was pushing people to do research behind the reason, to do their own research for what he does, behind his job as a trapper. Because I asked him, I was like, what do you tell people who aren't comfortable with what you do? And he's like, encourages people to do the research. He says that there are places out there, organizations out there that educate people like him how to trap beavers humanely, because it is, in the sense, you're going to have to, I'm just going to put it out there, you have to kill the beaver. It's a form of stabilizing the population. Because sometimes it just gets out of control and they become a nuisance. And what happens is damages for roadways happens. I was reading in the Beaver Management Assistance Program that in 2018 that the program was able to prevent about $10 million worth of damages in the North Carolina bridges, roadways. So this program is actually kind of a big deal. Wow. And it actually helps prevent a lot of the issues that beavers cause.
Yeah, I mean, $10 million saved in repairing damages just from Beaver Bounty. That's crazy.
And it's not just about killing the beavers too. This program isn't just about killing the beavers. That's something that I do, even though there is a bounty. I believe it's in Beaufort, and it's also not in all North Carolina counties. If you go to the story that I wrote today in the online originals page, there's a link that links to the Beaver Management Assistant Program. which is the official name of the Beaver Bounty program, and it lists which counties are involved in the program. The ones that I know off the top of my head that are involved are Beaufort and Martin, and it's $10 a tail. And you can get a little bit more information on how they verify, or on how you can get that money. But really the story wasn't necessarily like about the money. It's the fact that these beavers are a nuisance in the east, and there's this program out there to make sure that they aren't causing damages to roadways, damages to magnifying flooding damages, and also when they cut, like, they'll cut down trees, and those trees will cause damages to houses, it'll cause damages to churches, it'll cause damages to buildings. It's like a major storm coming in and then knocking over a tree, and then also to the lines, the electricity lines and stuff like that.
Wow.
So it's a bigger deal than what I was realizing.
What?
Yeah.
Beavers?
Exactly, yeah.
But so is there any programs, like it's just for, like, it's such a huge issue that they really do need to, unfortunately, kill these beavers, or are there any, like, programs that they're able to release any of them into, or kind of, rescue groups they're able to put them into, or is it really just that big of an issue that it has to be a bounty?
So I haven't heard of any rescue groups, but what I did, from my understanding, it's not just about killing the beavers. So there are ways that they kind of like rehome the beavers, if that makes sense. I didn't get too much into my story, but that is linked on the north with the. I did link the program in my story, and that program even like states it's not just about killing beavers. Like, here are the other options, and who funds this program. I mean, it's multiple government agencies. It's the Wildlife Resources Commission. It's North Carolina Department of Transportation.
Wow.
I mean, the fact that I haven't heard of this program before this week kind of surprises me, because I was like, oh, this is actually like it's a
big deal. And to think that such a tiny little creature that, I mean, we never see because it burrows itself, in its little dams and in the water, to think that such a little animal could cause this much damage and have this much money, saved because of it, and then all these government agencies putting in funding to it because it is that, like, that's just wild that a little beaver, like, that's crazy to me.
I have 3 fun facts
that
I want to share, because I learned so much today.
Share your beaver facts.
Yes. Okay. So beavers' teeth don't stop growing. So that's why they're always chewing on stuff, because when they're chewing on stuff, it
files it.
It files their teeth.
That's cool.
And so the trapper who I was talking to today, his name is Philip Nichols. He was super, super generous with his knowledge. He said that the teeth, like, he's seen beavers' teeth like grow out and like curve from
like a nail, kind of like. Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Exactly. Another fun fact: beavers, yes, they're small, but they can grow up to grow up to be 90 pounds. So I do not want to see a 90-pound beaver coming at me ever in my entire life. I
have a pit bull and she's like 65. A 90-pound beaver.
A 90-pound beaver. Yeah.
I would run for my life. That's terrifying.
I don't even know how that would look like.
That is like a zombie apocalypse. Could you imagine a 90-pound beaver?
When I read that, because that was actually from the website, I was like, that is kind of scary.
That is scary.
And then third fun fact, so this Beaver Bounty program, this is something that I learned from the Martin County county manager. He told me that it started in 1939. So this has been going back for a while. He said that there was like a break, but it got reintroduced, I believe, in 2004. But the program itself in North Carolina started in 1939. So it just...
That's crazy. Yeah. That's such a cool story to cover. Like,
Thank you.
And that's so fun. Like, when we do these stories, like, to uncover something like that like, you never knew. And, like, I don't even, like, I mean, some of the people here in the newsroom have been here a while. Some of us, are newer. But, like, I don't know if anybody knew about this. Like, that's crazy.
You know what? And I was so excited to do the story just because it's fun to have unique stories like these that are just kind of different, and then you have like the people who are really involved, like this is their life, like the trapper,
right? And I'm sure he's passionate about it. Yeah.
Oh, and he was also saying that because when I asked him that question about him, what do you say to people when they're not comfortable with what you're doing? He says, well, another reason why his job is important, there's rabid populations out there, like raccoons and beaver. I don't know if beavers get rabies because it's not just a trapper for beavers, but he says that it's like it's a way to make sure that rabies doesn't get out to the animal population in a larger aspect, and then also to humans. So he was also talking about how like that's the importance of what they do, so that like rabies and animal distemper, which is kind of like rabies, so that doesn't cause any harm to humans or even other animals.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's
Very
so crazy.
interesting.
Yeah, that's so crazy how like one little thing has all these crazy chain effects. Like that is wild. That just shows like our world is so big and diverse, and like just one little thing can shoot everything off in a different way. Like that's insane to me. I just love learning things like this, and we got to see your cute little beaver teeth, so that was fun. Well, I'm glad you got to look into this story. It sounds like you had a lot of fun learning stuff today and getting, you know, information about this program. So if you guys, again, want to check out more about Victoria's story and check out more information on the program, you can dive into that on your own. Like she said, she has those linked on her WNCT Online Originals page. So thank you guys for watching this edition of Reporter's Notebook. And Victoria, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
All right. Have a good night, guys.